So hello guys, and welcome to another video. And the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door Remake just got its first update, and I wanted to report on it and look at it a little bit since I'm the Paper Mario guy after all, and I was interested in seeing some of the changes that they've made here. So with Nintendo's changelog, they did list quite a few glitches and bugs that were fixed, and there are also a few things that have been noticed that weren't listed in this log and everything. One of them that I've even noticed and found out myself. So I wanted to kind of touch on that after I go through the list here. But yeah, one thing that's also worth mentioning is that this doesn't really add anything new, which is a little disappointing because it would have been nice to see full GameCube controller support. Since while you can use a GameCube controller in this game, it doesn't have the full functionality that it does in the original, so it would have been nice to see that added here, kind of like how Super Mario Sunshine added it in 3D All-Stars. And I think 3D All-Stars also added Nintendo 64 controller support, so it is a little disappointing that they didn't add that here yet. And it would have been cool if they also added like one extra sound badge or one extra emblem badge just as like a little extra bonus or something, but I guess it kind of makes sense that they mostly focus on fixing issues and things, since there were quite a decent amount of exploits and glitches in the game. Nothing major, but just little things that people like me and other Paper Mario fans have noticed. But one thing that was listed first on here that I actually haven't heard of before was an issue where you could get past the fallen tree on Twilight Trail without tube mode, since that's basically the spot where you kind of need to obtain tube mode and progress through the story. So it kind of seems like a thing where you'd kind of, I'm not sure if it doesn't seem like a sequence break or anything like one of the glitches that wasn't patched, which I'll actually touch on in a little bit, but I think it's just a thing where you could somehow get past it, and once you get past it, you can't go back, and you also can't access other areas, since there are other areas after this that require tube mode, so it basically soft locks your game. So this is very likely extremely rare, kind of like that one glitch that was in Origami King, when that game was first released and everything. But basically this update patches it and everything, and it allows you to go back to the last, I think the last save point on the map, or it also says the save after it or something, and then it will revert back to how it originally was and everything. So yeah, I think it's definitely fixing some issues with that, because it kind of notices if someone passed it without tube mode. But yeah, so another thing is where the controls would somehow no longer respond properly when hitting an enemy with a hammer on the field. I'm not sure if this was a minor thing, where the controls are work a little weirdly after you hit an enemy, or this was just a major thing that not a lot of people have encountered. But I think it does kind of make sense why they would be fixing this and everything, and I could definitely see how this could have happened in the first place due to how the enemies and models work in this game. So yeah, and another one is an issue where battles would no longer progress properly, or status icons wouldn't be displayed in battles in cases where players waited for a long time without closing the software. That is pretty interesting. So I haven't heard of this one either. I have heard of a couple other glitches in battles, and I'll get into this in a little bit because these are with glitches that haven't been patched that I've actually encountered before, but I haven't seen that one before either. And the next one is with the battle, the required battle with the Koopa Troopa behind a bush in Petal Meadows. It wouldn't end properly. I think that's because it's a scripted battle, and it doesn't, like, work the same as other battles, so I think it kind of makes sense why that would occur, so that's good that that's fixed. So the next thing that was changed was something involving Miss Mouse. And I think I know what this is. This is the Miss Mouse text storage. Very likely. And basically, this was a glitch that had some speedrunning potential. Since basically what you did was use Miss Mouse's ability while, like, hammering and moving away, that allowed you to move while Miss Mouse's text box was active. And this had some speedrunning potential, since you could actually skip, like, some, like, scenes and things. Like, for example, someone on Reddit used it for, like, skipping, like, one of the Shadow Siren scenes in the Palace of Shadow. So apparently you could actually, like, sequence break with this and actually pass some areas and everything. But it basically, like, stops all the NPCs, it makes loading zones work weirdly, it makes objects, like, not have, like, interaction and different things, so it's just pretty interesting. So it is a little unfortunate that they patched it, but I feel like some people saw this coming, since this was pretty well documented. But yeah. Then there's one where there's an issue that was fixed where the turn could be skipped when using either double dip or triple dip. And triple dip is basically when you equip 2 double dips. It's not the same as equipping a triple dip in 64, but basically it kind of had that issue there. So that's good that that was fixed. And it also fixed some text issues as well, and this is where I've actually noticed one of the fixes here. So, in the original version of the game, there was a typo in the sound gallery where it said, searching for Petal Meadows, with a D instead of Petal Meadows. So they've actually fixed this and changed this in this update. That was one thing where a few people actually noticed. I've actually noticed it myself as well in the original version of the game, since it's literally the second song in Chapter 1 of the sound gallery. And there were also a few other text changes as well, and I'll credit Oatmeal Dome for documenting these changes. So, when Yoshi observes the place where you put the skull gem, in the original version, he said, "This rock looks a skull," but they fixed it to say it looks like a skull, which is proper grammar and everything. And another one is Tech explaining how to break into Grotus's room. The original version, it said there are guards outside the room that permit no entry. Now it says permits no entry. And then finally, when Princess Peach is explaining what love is to Tech, it originally said you will do anything to help when that person in trouble. And now it says when the person is in trouble, so it mostly fixed small grammatical errors or small spelling mistakes and everything. So, yeah, those are most of the documented changes that this update has fixed. But weirdly, there are a couple glitches that they didn't patch in this update. And one of them is the Koops exploit in Chapter 2, where you can get the blue key early and skip the entire first Jabby sequence. So that was a pretty funny glitch, and I actually pulled it off in my second playthrough of the game, my personal playthrough. And this is actually extremely easy. Anyone can pull this off, since you basically have to just use Koops at the area where you'd enter the Jabby area. And according to Zay on Twitter, they actually didn't fix this. Though, I am taking this with a grain of salt because there isn't any video footage that this is still remaining in this update. But since it wasn't listed under fixed issues, I think it's safe to assume that this wasn't fixed, because that was a pretty big exploit. Another glitch that I've actually encountered that I haven't seen anyone else document, though it probably has been documented somewhere, I just haven't seen it. It's a glitch where the overworld music still plays during battle, while the battle music is playing as well. So that was pretty weird, and I'm surprised that wasn't fixed or like mentioned at all. So yeah, it is a bit weird that they haven't fixed that one. But yeah, they did fix a decent amount of glitches here, but I'm surprised that some of them weren't changed. And there's also another major exploit as well with badge duplication that I think is kind of up in the air of whether they fixed it or not, since it wasn't listed in changelog, but it could have been another issue that they fixed, since it is pretty hard to like achieve during a normal playthrough. You really have to deliberately go out of your way to try to do it, kind of like duplication glitches in other games like Zelda. So I have a feeling that might not have been fixed yet, especially since that was discovered fairly recently. But yeah, so anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.